Hey, ba-ba-da-da! That's kind of non-climactic, is it not? Welcome to BanjoBenClark.com. This is your home where you get a video every week. We trade it out from the mandolin one week to the guitar to the banjo. This week is mandolin week, and I've decided to kind of knock out 2 or 3 birds with one stone. I'd had a lot of requests for Amazing Grace for a basic version on mandolin. Also, I'd had requests to work on tremolo for the mandolin, and I've had requests to work on how to find harmonies on the mandolin. So we're going to do them all today. So what we're going to do, this is kind of it's a basic lesson, but it's very intense. Okay, it's going to require your concentration, which is good, but we're going to use the same melody of Amazing Grace, and we're going to play it 2 times through. Okay, the melody that we all know. But one time when we play it through, we're going to use harmony notes that are beneath the melody notes. So listen to this. Based on this, our verse is this. You hear how the melody notes stayed the same, but the harmony note moved. Another thing we're going to do is concentrate on being intentional on our tremolos, okay? Instead of just playing tremolos as fast as we can, which sometimes we'll need, I think it's more important to, while you're learning tremolo, to be intentional about it, to know how many notes you're tremoloing. I didn't do that when I first started learning. I thought that tremolo was just as fast as you can do it. Well, it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes we need to tremolo in time. Okay, so it's important for us to start out slow doing that, and it'll develop and become much more strong over time. Okay, so we're going to learn Amazing Grace, 2 different versions, 2 different harmony, alterations, alternatives, I don't know. And then we're going to really focus on our tremolo. So jump on the website, BanjoBenClark.com. Print out your tab there. If you're a gold pick or lifetime member, thank you. All of you who do that, you help me do what I do each week. I wouldn't be able to do it without you. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll send you over there in a little while, or ask that you go there, please, and join as a gold pick member. And you can have access to these videos that happen every week. All right, let's listen to this version of Amazing Grace. As I mentioned, we have 2 main goals in this lesson, the beginner version to Amazing Grace. Our first main goal is to kind of work on our tremolo. A lot of times people think that tremolo is just meant to be played as fast as you can play it, and there are situations when you do want to do that, depending on the song. But I think it's more important to first, before we get there, to develop a more controlled approach to our tremolo, and to think about them as actual notes, not just a space of time that we just try to pick the note as many times as possible. Now, don't get me wrong, there are times when we're going to do that, for sure. But on this particular arrangement, I want to identify each of the strokes of the tremolo as notes individually. Okay, and that's going to help us just develop a more controlled and a steady tremolo sound as we advance. Now, the second main goal that we're going to have is to look at how to create harmony in our simple melodies. It'd be pretty easy for us to just go through and play a simple version of Amazing Grace. But what I wanted to do was play it through one time where on the long notes Amazing grace. On those long notes, we're going to grab a harmony note. And the first time through the song, we're going to grab the harmony note that's closest to the melody note underneath the melody note. Okay, you'll see how that makes sense. The second time we go through it, we're going to grab the harmony note that's closest to the melody note above it. So even though we're going to play the same melody, exact melody, through both times, we're going to have different harmony notes. And that's going to create kind of two different versions of the song, and also just two different ways that you can interchange and play the song. So let's start out there in measure 1. We've got a little kickoff. This song is in, really it's a 3/4 time. I wrote it in 6/8 time just so we could kind of spread the tab out a little bit. But essentially we're going to read everything the same. We've got 2/8 notes there. And the reason why I started off on the 7th and 9th fret, as you notice, those are the same notes as if I would have started on the open D string. Same notes. It's because my next melody note is this G note. Don't worry about trying to understand all the theory, okay, that I'm talking about. It's going to come together eventually through this video and other videos. But our next melody note is that G note. But I know that I want to play a harmony note with that, and I want to get the next lowest harmony note to this G note. Well, if you've watched my G major scale study videos and my my mandolin backup rhythm videos, I've explained a lot of this, but we're playing over a G chord, we're playing a G note. The note that falls within the chord that would create harmony is directly beneath it would be a D note, which is the open D string. Well, obviously I can't play this note and this open D string at the same time. Okay, so I have to find a different way to play it. So one way that I can do it is, instead of having this open D note, we're going to play it on the 7th fret of the low G string, as you can see there in the tab. So that note there and this note here is the same thing. And so now we have our melody note here with our lower harmony here. So if I'm going to end up there, I went ahead and started out in that position in the kickoff. Okay? Instead of going and having to move up, okay? So we just went ahead and started there. You'll see a lot of that as we go through this song. Now, let's look at this tremolo. I've got it written out as 2 16th note sets of triplets, okay? But essentially what you need to know is to follow the pick strokes that are written beneath the notes, and essentially we're going to go down and up 3 times, 3 complete cycles, okay, for each one of these tremolos. So 1, 2, 3, okay, and that's the tremolo. And then we're going to land on that second beat. So measure 2 sounds like this. Ready, go, triple it, 2, 3. Okay? Then we're going to shift up. Now what does our melody note do? Zing, grace, and measure 3. There's our melody note there on the 2nd fret of the A string. Now the next lowest harmony note to that B note in the G chord would be a G note, which we just played right here. But you'll notice I have the 3rd fret there, which makes that an F note. Now why would I do that? Well, if you'll look above in the tab, you see that it's a G7 chord. Okay, this isn't a straight G chord. This is the guitar player, whoever's going to be playing a lot of times a G7 chord, because that prepares us to go to a C chord, which we're about to do in measure 4. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to show you that our harmonies that we create don't always have to fall within the 3 notes of the chord triad.